NewsBiscuit. Real fake news.
Welcome to NewsBiscuit, the UK's original fake news. NewsBiscuit, the only media outlet that Rupert Murdoch refused to buy. I'm your host, Wrenfoe, and on tonight's podcast, I'm joined by Max Stars.
Hi, I'm Max Decimus Stars. I am husband of a murdered wife, the son of.
I wasn't expecting a biography. Just hello would suffice. But thank you, Max. We're also joined by Paul L.
Hello.
That's more like it. Brief and to the point. I'm also joined by Flash Arry. Hello. And finally, we're joined by Chris F.
Hi there.
Thank you, Chris. So this month has seen a nation shocked as Matt Hancock awards a contract to someone Boris Johnson hasn't slept with. Shocked that the new number 10 press room, which costs £2.6 million, didn't include an ejector seat. And shocked that Man United are all about the money. So that brings us to our first round, which is News in Brief, where our panelists select their favourite headlines from this month's News Biscuit. So, Chris, what have you got for us?
Jose Mourinho sacked before he can lose the new Super League. WH Smith reports the shortage of brown envelopes after David Cameron visit. And some good news for Aldi and Marks and Spencer. The Colin the Caterpillar cake saga is to be turned into a video game. It's going to be called Grand Theft Gatto.
Works.
Oh, no.
That works. Yeah.
It's also been announced this week the Bank of England is going to be moving to Leeds, and locals have already named it Told Lass of Threadneedle Street. The Monetary Policy Committee will still meet monthly in London, but it's now going to have to spend most of its time moaning about how flat the beer is. And can you believe 2 pints and a bag of crisps just cost me 18 quid?
Now that joke's going to resonate north of the Watford Gap, but you do realise anyone in London we've now just lost. Right, Flash Arry, what have you got for us? What did you find?
Literary historian discovers Lewis Carroll's sequel, Alice in Sunderland.
Very good.
Loyalist rioters to stop burning petrol cars by 2025. And we're going to have to learn to live with the Conservative Party, says Dr. Whitty, in a parallel statement to the coronavirus, which I think doesn't reflect very well on the virus.
That is true. Paul, what have you got for us?
I've got, after a man was caught trying to enter Buckingham Palace with a knife, this resulted in the headline, Chris Whitty seen approaching Whitehall wielding X and Y axes.
Next slide, please.
Phone finally picked up at the Tinnitus helpline. Cameron moves from the big society to the Self-Preservation Society after the Green Seal job.
Excellent.
Woman who couldn't get top off of morning after pill bottle due to childproof cap.
You have to think about that one for a moment. Right, okay. Max, what have you got for us?
So I've got man who finally has haircut, celebrates with mullet off cocktail. It's a great pun. Then I've got man astonished to learn TV can't hear him when he shouts at it. Carl, a lifelong fan of yelling at the TV during sports events, when his wife told him, "It can't hear you, no matter how loud you shout." Carl said, "Everything I thought I knew was gone. My role as a football coach in chief was an illusion. If they can't hear me after all, what's the point?" I like the story. We asked, decking, is it the new patio for middle-class serial killers? And then Ye Globe doth announce that its first play on reopening shall be Mask Death.
Oh,
Very good. Very
thank you,
good.
gentlemen. And I think my favourite of the month, and if we're going to go with sort of bad puns, but I particularly like this one, was one of the headlines was illegally parked Zen master hears sound of one hand clamping.
Yeah. No, that was
Excellent.
I did like that one. Right. So, okay. Now, each episode, we're going to ask one of our guests to tell us a little bit about themselves, usually their bank details. So this month, Chris is going to be sharing one of his favorite stories from the NewsBiscuit archive. Now, Chris, you've been writing for NewsBiscuit for many years. And as you know, there's lots of authors on NewsBiscuit who hide behind exotic pen names. So was Chris the most imaginative name you could come up with?
It's Chris F. I thought just said it all really. It's short. It gets across. It says what it says what it means, but it has that sort of hint of it leaves you wondering. It leaves
does.
you.
Yeah. You're at least you're thinking there's other letters in the alphabet I could have used.
Mysterious F.
Mysterious F. Yeah. So when did you first stumble across NewsBiscuit though?
I came across it about 2016. I think I was looking. I looked at some other sites whose names we won't mention, satire sites, but I actually saw an interview with John O'Farrell talking about the site, and I thought I'll give it a look. And what I liked about it was just anyone could put material up there. You sometimes get feedback from other contributors about what you're doing, and there's always
some of that
excitement.
Feedback's nice though, isn't it? Some of the feedback is positive.
Some of that is positive.
It's
yes,
not just abusive kind of text and imagery. We should point that out. It is a supportive environment. And
then there's always that excitement looking to see whether your story's made it onto the the front pages of NewsBiscuit. But it's a nice place. You can write things on there, and it's a pretty friendly environment. And I've enjoyed being on there for 5 years now.
And we'll pretty much accept any level of spelling, I've noticed on the site.
Indeed.
There doesn't seem to be any barrier. English does not need to be your language of choice when writing.
That's not a personal comment towards me, I hope.
No.
Editorial notes.
No, I mean, if it wasn't for spell check, I wouldn't get out of the gates at all. Right, okay, Chris. So tell us your favourite story from the archive.
Well, I've not gone too far in the archives actually, but I chose this one because it was a collective one. And another good thing about NewsBiscuit is that sometimes you put something up and other people can contribute. I think there's a really nice vibe to that, where other people are sort of adding and making things often better than what you put up there. So this is one about the Grand National from a few weeks ago. So it's the COVID 2021 Grand National. Okay, so welcome here to the 2021 COVID Grand National, sponsored this year by Moderna, Pfizer and AstraZeneca. And the runners and riders are just approaching the paddock. So let's go and have a look at the form. There we can see the first horse there, Boris's Folly, 33-1. Been a difficult year for this long-haired nag. Performed miserably in every televised outing. His owner, Carrie Simmons, has spent £200,000 on a new stable and will be hoping for some improvement in his recent form. And who's that next? It's Captain Hindsight there, 100-1 for this one. Interestingly, his trainer, Sir Keir Starmer, correctly predicted the results of last year's Grand National just 3 days after it took place. This horse not very well favoured in Labour circles and is drifting out very far in Hartlepool, I hear. An outsider here, Ever Given, 1,000-1. This one looks like a total no-hoper, carrying a lot of weight. And watch out for a potentially catastrophic disaster at the Canal Turn. Rule of 6 at 28-1. This one's had plenty of training runs over the last few weeks in gardens around the country. Not a fan of the cold conditions, but a glass of Prosecco and some time under the blankets tend to have a positive effect. And those are your runners and riders for the big race today.
Thank you very much, Chris. Very good. Okay, our next round is True Biscuit. This is where our panel have to guess which are the real headlines and which are the fake ones. So, Paul, would you like to tempt us with one of your headlines?
Well, I've got it's quite an uplifting Easter-inspired one. This is the headline. What would Jesus do? Easter-inspired diner owner offers job to burglar who broke in. Now, Carl Wallace decided to extend the hand of employment to the criminal following a break-in on Easter Sunday.
And so for the rest of the year, he bludgeons them to death. But but during the Easter period, he's full of kind of
little bludgeon.
It's the little.
I don't know. It sounds. I mean, it's. I mean, I wonder if there's got to be some sort of follow-on to this story. I mean, you wonder if there's something going to happen after 40 days or something.
Unfortunately, the burglar didn't get in touch. Mr. Wallace said he was extremely hopeful, though. Still, he wanted to stress it wasn't a trap or a setup.
Is he going to wait 2,000 years for the next time for the burglar to sort of materialize?
I think it's a reenactment because at Easter on the cross next to Jesus there was a thief, wasn't there? So,
no, good point. Yes.
So
that's
that's he's going for the reenactment, I think.
And he was nailed there for stealing chocolate eggs, was he? Is that why? This is how this all makes sense.
Pontius Pilate will be COVID secure. He'll be washing his hands of everything.
Right. Yeah.
Right, kind of gents. Is this true or is this false?
It's false.
False. Okay, false. Are we going to? Are we
true? I'm going to go true.
True. We got true.
True too.
True. Okay. Well, I think the trues have it. Paul, is this a true headline or not?
It is a true headline.
Oh,
I thought I nearly had you.
No, what a beautiful world we live in, though. That's lovely.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, Max, have you got something you can?
Yes, I haven't got any of the level of detail that we've just had from Paul, but short and sweet. This is absolutely true because I read it on an online newspaper site. The new boss of Shoe Zone is a man called Terry Boot. He replaces the former CEO, who was a man called Peter Foot.
No, that just sounds like
that's the only level of I haven't got any more details, unfortunately.
those are sort of bad puns you see on NewsBiscuit regularly. This has surely got to be false. And I mean, and if not, is that how the job interview process works there? You know, they just they look at people's names and just filter them out. If you're not a foot related pun, you're not making the short.
The other thing is I didn't realise that Shoe Zone was still going. Maybe
they're definitely still going. I heard as much from their marketing manager, Peter Brogue.
Yeah, Shoe Zone's the kind of the budget place you go if you're not too worried about the difference between left and right. You're just happy to take any kind of object.
I mean, I did ask for more detail from their media spokesperson, Jenny Trainer. But,
you see, you're just making this. You're just making this worse. Well, my feeling is it has to be false, doesn't it? No, gentlemen, what are you saying? Surely.
True. I'm going to go true.
Just because you want it to be true.
Yeah, I'm going true as well. Yeah.
Oh, Max, please put them out their misery.
Flash Arry, what are you going for? True, false?
True.
Well, it is absolutely true. Yes.
People getting their CVs ready now. Anyone with any shoe related thing is just putting their CV in right now.
Their HR department only functions on puns. That's it. That's the only way they'll employ people, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for that.
The Peter Foot was fired. I think he got the boot. So.
Oh man, this is bad. Right. Okay. So, Flash Arry, what have you got for us? What can you fool us with?
I've got accident-prone street covered in bubble wrap. A street where a large number of insurance claims have been made over the year and then subsequently got protected by loads of off-cast packaging.
But bubble wrap, there's two things that occur to me. I mean, obviously bubble wrap, highly flammable. That's problematical. But more problematical, surely, is just random people coming in and popping the bubbles because it's just so much fun to do.
Then you've effectively lost the effect of it all.
Yes, you're going to have like hordes of small children coming in and just popping away.
What if you bubble wrapped them to the fence?
Okay.
Escalated quickly.
Yeah.
It did. The grandchildren.
Surely it's a scurrilous lie. Come on, gentlemen. Come on. It can't be true. Although the last thing, the foot thing was true. So I don't know now.
I don't know. I'm thinking, I've just got this image in my head of someone like that old Mr. Soft advert, where there's someone sort of bouncing along this sort of road of, bubble wrap. I think that one's false. I think it's going to be false.
I'm going false as well.
You'd never get a good night's sleep because every time a cat or a dog walks through the neighbourhood, there's this constant popping at night.
For that reasoning, I'm going false as well.
They're calling you a barefaced liar, Flash Arry.
Well, according to the website, it's Somerville Road in Worcester, England.
Oh, wow.
10 claims per year, For the
Wow.
last 10 years, this is an article from 2010, by the way.
That's my road. I live in that road.
I'm sure you should remember.
I remember it now. 2010, of course. Yes.
We're not allowed to get out your front door for bubble wrap.
Piece of photographs with an incredibly confused-looking man walking his dog in this bubble wrap.
So there's
Trees,
even
pavements.
God, so there's even pictures of it. Oh my word! It's like a Turner Prize thing, isn't it, Chris?
Okay, here's a headline. See what you think of this one. UK public can't agree on the correct name for a TV remote. Survey reveals.
It's just a telly buttons, isn't it?
What the options? What can you
Yeah,
call it?
telly buttons must be in there.
Doofer,
The doofer. Yeah, the doofer, I suppose. Yeah,
zapper,
the
I
zapper.
suppose.
Thingy.
Yeah.
Thingy-majig, yeah, Thingy-majig, good one.
Thingy-majig.
I think that was in the top 10, definitely.
And ironically, all of these are names that I've used to refer to my genitals at some point as well. So,
I hope that doesn't get extended further.
yeah,
Well, let me give you some of the-
my
let me
family
give you-
have to hunt for them as well, as much as they do the TV remote. They both get lost quite regularly.
You can see whether that carries on. So fiddlestick, is one. Yes, it still applies. Yeah,
Yeah, that
Yes.
doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Megatron,
Ooh,
I'm not going to boast.
Ian.
Advertising.
Ian.
Ian?
That's what it says.
Ian.
The controller. That sounds like something from some sort of 80s sci-fi thing.
Control.
That's
Yeah.
the gun. It's a bit of a mobster one. Hey, pass us the gun now, will you? Fiddlestick, thingamajig, flicker.
What was the number one? What was the number one, Chris?
Number one was doofer.
Doofer.
Then zapper, and then remote at number 3.
Doofer's a great word.
I'm going to say true.
I'm going to go false.
So Paul's saying true. Flash Harry's going false.
Yeah.
Max, you've got the deciding vote on this one.
I think I've 0 out of 2 so far, so I think it's true. I think it's true.
All right.
I think it's true.
All right. Is it? Please. Is it true, Chris?
It is true.
Oh,
Hey!
This brings us finally to our last round, the ever popular Magic 8 Ball.
The Magic 8 Ball!
Now, given that this is the pilot episode, I'm not sure I can get away with phrases like ever popular, but here we go. Right.
Fairly popular.
Yeah, popular when it occurred to me a few moments ago. Right, so
Increasingly popular.
Increasingly
Yeah.
popular, yes. Yet to be cancelled. Right, okay. Each of our guests is going to give us a prediction for next month's news. I mean, obviously, this has all the scientific certainty of a Magic 8 Ball or a Donald Trump press conference. So, okay, panel, what headlines can we be looking forward to? Chris, what's your prediction for next month? What's going to be happening in the news?
Well, after all the revelations of lobbying, I think there's got to be some consequences. So next month, I expect we'll hear that Westminster's come to a standstill after the discovery of a huge 100-ton fatberg of lobbyists all congealed together in like a big mass of striped shirts and braces, expensive red wine and foie gras, calling for government support and some COVID contracts. And James Dyson will say he's got an invention that can sort it out as long as there's some decent tax breaks. Yeah, well, the Elite Super League's collapsed, but maybe the idea of just having a break-off elite group to contest other sporting events will catch on. So next year, I think you might see the boat race. Oh, hold on a minute. Yeah, boat race might just be contested by Oxford next year, or maybe just Cambridge.
Flash Harry, what about you? What have you got?
Well, with the announcement that they're going to remove the US and the British troops from Afghanistan, then it looks like the Taliban will be able to get back in control and appoint Jacob Rees-Mogg as their modernisation czar. I'm kicking and screaming into the 18th century.
Max, what do you think is going to be happening?
Yes, I'm slightly obsessed with the Mars Perseverance rover. We'll actually find alien life forms on the red planet. However, we won't be able to see any images because someone forgot to take the shutter off the camera.
Yeah.
Paul, what about yourself?
London is to be raffled off. So the big parts of London, like the Giant Eye, it's just we're going to have all the other cities are just going to pick a number, and we're slowly going to raffle parts of London off to make it, slightly fairer for the other bits of the country.
Yeah.
So they all get their own little bit of kind of liberal elite that they
Yeah,
can, that they can have and be angry about.
Queen dies, but she comes back.
That's
But-
bleak.
Thanks for
There's a
cheering
but.
us up.
There's an
There's a but.
uplifting part to it.
But UK can't take it, so we regenerate her as a hologram. So she can do everything she used to do. I mean, Charles won't be too pleased, but I think to ease the transition, she just comes back as a hologram, and the technology's there. Whitney Houston did her tour.
So does that mean we're going to get Prince Philip coming back to do sort of mildly racist jokes, but in holographic form?
Well, this is it. We can choose.
We can have
a referendum.
We can have a referendum on these things. Right, gentlemen. Well, thank you very much, because that does indeed bring us to the end of this episode. And I can reveal that there are no winners, only losers. So I'd like to thank our panel. So Max Stars.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Paul L.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Flash Arry.
Thank you. Goodbye.
And finally, Chris.
Thank you.
I'll leave you with these headlines there. Man painted black and white, then killed, was badgered to death. Woman traps wasp in car boot, denies having bee in her bonnet. And finally, Prince Philip dead, Meghan to blame, says Daily Mail.
You've been listening to NewsBiscuit, free to read and free to write for. We accept submissions from any budding satirist, young or old. Visit newsbiscuit.com to submit headlines, stories, and to support new writers.
NewsBiscuit. Real fake news.
It's not what I was hoping. I was hoping for some sort of young people and maybe some women on this podcast. And all I've got is middle-aged men. I feel like being catfished. If any of you suddenly inadvertently do a Jim Davidson routine and we have to edit out 10 minutes of continuous racism, then we'll then we will. Sorry, is that cramping everyone's style there? Then
Guys, this, I'll just cross out number 4.
And if you want to know about preparing for this appropriately, I thought I thought I'd get some food in case I got hungry during it. So I've got celery, which, as you can imagine, is the ideal vegetable to be eating during a podcast. Nothing silent about celery.
All right, big bag of crisps. There.
Yeah, big bag of crisps. Yeah. Just when someone really delivers a line well, you'll get a big crunch over the top, and I'll be, oh, sorry, we'll have to edit that one out.